PhD student from University of Stuttgart, and today I want to tell you a bit about an ongoing project that I do together with Thomas, where we want to develop a spinal reflex network controller that can generate different gates. What's the motivation behind this? Well, proprioception is really important for movement generation and control. We know that drastically for people who lose their proprioception. And also, reflex-based control architectures have really shown a great potential. However, these architectures are often tailored to one specific movement, like a walking model, and even more important, to generate a rhythmic behavior, they depend either on sample pattern generators or on a switching between task-specific states that are handcrafted for this one movement. Which therefore, of course, makes it kind of difficult to generalize these architectures to different movements. Therefore, our goal was to develop a kind of more general and versatile control architecture that still kind of leverages this potential that we can see in these reflex-based architectures. How do we approach this? So we used a planar 14 muscle model in Scone, and we powered out the optimization with HiFi. And as I said, we do not want to depend on this state switching or sample pattern generators. So we really only have one single state of our control architecture, and all the rhythmic behavior has to kind of emerge from the reflexes. Also, our control is symmetric between the two legs, and we do not have any connections between each leg. And then we generate simulations for the muscles based on reflex connections, where we allow two types of reflexes. So we have here kind of connection metrics for the 7 muscles in one leg. And what we allow is the monosynaptic reflexes that are highlighted here in greenish, and additionally connections between antagonistic muscles. And for each of these kind of reflexes, there are 2 types of sensor signals that we use, length and force feedback, such that then for a muscle that has 2 antagonists, we generate simulation based on 6 sensor signals. So its own length and force, and then the length and force of the 2 antagonistic muscles. Additionally, we input some more knowledge and constrain the length connections by saying that the monosynaptic reflex has to be excitatory, and the antagonistic reflex has to be inhibitory. For the force, we just let the optimizer decide. And if we then combine that for all muscles, we end up with this quite simple network where we have our 14 kind of sensor signals, 2 for each muscle. They are then used to generate our 7 simulations. This boils down to a total of 45 control parameters, so we have 38 connections, and then we also learn an excitation threshold for each of the muscles.
Do the colors mean anything?
Yeah, the colors mean that's excitatory, that's inhibitory, and these are the constraint ones. Exactly. So yeah, as I said, we don't only have a single state. We have like 45 control parameters. So of course the question is, can we learn some kind of rhythmic behavior, some gait? So we started optimizing, and actually it works surprisingly well. So on the left you see we get walking like gait, but we also can get quite a variety of different gaits. So we can invert it to get backwards walking. We can also get running like gait. We're currently at like 4 meters per second with maximum speed. The more we can get some parameter set where we get the model to hopping, also backwards. And here we added some additional vestibular feedback to give some more kind of balance information. And then we also get some quite stance behavior. So yeah, to conclude, I think there's really a great potential in this kind of simple reflex-based control network, which does not depend on any task-specific state or sample pattern generator, but still is able to generate these different gaits by just changing this parameterization. And where do I want to go from there? So I think really the imminent next step is to compare to experimental data. We started doing that for walking preliminary, and it looks quite good. But of course, it would also be nice for the other gates. So also, if anyone of you has any good suggestion on data sets to use to compare to, I'm happy for anything. And we're still working on refining the control, maybe adding vestibular feedback, and also just figuring out what is actually good parameter setting. And we're thinking about maybe making the model a bit more complex, adding a few more muscles, or segmenting the trunk to really make it even a bit more generalizable. And what is kind of really my ultimate goal with this is that I want to study transitions, because I think to study how to transition from stance to walking, for example, well, we need an underlying control structure that we have in common, and I think this can greatly help in studying these transitions. Yeah, and with this, thanks for your attention.
We have about 2 minutes for questions.
Very nice, well, thank you very much. Can you give me a notion, and I'm not sure if I missed that, how you come up with your objective functions for the optimization and how complex they are?
Yeah, so I didn't talk about that. So we also still work on that. Actually, in the beginning, for walking and for most of these, it's really simple. Like, we just maximize the distance. And also, currently, most of these movements have kind of high activation, so I did not put any kind of minimization of cross transfer or anything, which I started to do for the experimental comparison of walking. But yeah, currently it's really just kind of go as fast as you can, for example, or the furthest. Yeah.
How did you decide on this map which muscles you are allowing to actually couple? I only know from the original model that you also have not just agonistic and antagonistic feedback, but that also other muscles can somewhat map. So why did you restrict that to having just self-feedback and antagonistic feedback?
So I started with allowing all possible connections, and it works as well. But it's kind of, I wanted to go to the kind of sparse representation, and these reflexes kind of, we know that these exist or more or less in humans, and it's also then kind of close, not connecting different joints and so on. But I think also a future step would be to start from the complete matrix and then let the optimizer kind of find the sparse representation.
Yeah, maybe short follow-up. What do we do then with biarticular muscles?
They have both. Because it's about the antagonistic muscles. So we do have that's why we also have always two.
Okay.
Except for that kind of solute and okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
If you go back to the previous, you're saying one model with one controller and one set of gains. If you have 3 different initial conditions, gives those 3 different gains.
No, the kind of the weights are different. The parameter set is different for the gates.
And the gates are stable or just periodic motions? Those are stable gates?
Yeah, most of them.
I mean, do you look for them by just simulating forwards, or do you have to do root finding or something to find the gates?
So I just do I start with one initial parameter set, and then we use an evolutionary algorithm, and we simulate for let's say 20-second simulation time, and say it should be should get the furthest in these 20 seconds, which then also gives a stable gate. Because if it manages to walk for 20 seconds, then most of the time it continues as well. Yeah.
When we do RL on our humanoid, we also can get very natural looking walking with very simple rewards, except we always need to put something in to discourage it from taking very high frequency, like 10 hertz steps, like da 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 da. Do you have any thoughts on why you don't need that here?
Well, I mean, this whole rhythmic behavior just kind of emerges from the fact that all these muscles are somehow connected, but in a case, because you have a reflex from one muscle and then this muscle is excited and then you go to the next. So I think this probably ultimately kind of already leads to the fact that it takes a bit longer to have one sequence, and therefore, I guess, I don't know, just hypothesizing. Yeah.
You mentioned that you don't have a switch between swing and stance.
Yeah.
Did you notice any reflex pathway that could emulate the switching behavior?
I did not yet look into the results that closely. No, but I think, for example, like I worked with it before, I have predicted the onset of stance using the ham length feedback, because it kind of gets extended. And that kind of nicely predicts onset of stance. So I think something like that could probably be help to switch, because that rises in the end of the swing phase, and then you can start changing through other effects. But I didn't look at it in detail yet. Yeah.
We have time. Thank you very much.